Hey, Jenny. So
Hey,
excited to
Marie.
see you today.
Nice to
We,
be here with you.
yeah, we've been trying to do this for a little while now, and I'm just so happy that we finally were able to, meet, and that's so exciting.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was so fascinated by you. I will just tell you, whoever's listening a little bit about you, the only thing that I know, and then you can continue and add to that, and we will just go from there because it's going to be really exciting today. So I met Jenny
Yes.
about maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and she did a QHHT session for me, Dolores Cannon hypnosis, and it was a wonderful day that we spent together. And then we sort of started talking, and and I started following you and watching what you were doing, and I realized that this has been a long journey for you. You do a lot of amazing things. You do yoga, you do light language, all kinds of really great things. And I always find uplifting messages when I watch you on Instagram, for example. So it's really cool. But I'll leave it to you now to talk a little bit more about yourself, maybe, and just explain, maybe start from the beginning or wherever you want. And just
Yes, I know that's always so hard to know how much to include, but
yes.
for this format, I think that to talk about my spiritual journey and my
Yeah.
evolution and how I got to where I am today is maybe most relevant.
Oh,
So
perfect. Yes.
yes, yes, yes. And actually it all started, well, let me just say that I've always been very open and very curious person. Would like to know how everything works, and I don't like shoot anything down until I investigate it.
Mm.
And I've always been interested in like the spiritual side and been very open for that everything is possible,
Mm.
everything can happen, everything is possible.
Mm.
Uh, so, but I, lived my life, had, normal jobs and stuff like that. And then it was in 2012, coincidentally, when the Maya calendar ended.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure your listeners are aware of that.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. And actually, I was quitting a job that I had for a long time in a company. And I got 6 months pay to leave. And then I was sort of scrolling through the internet and I found this healing method called Reconnective Healing. And
Mm.
also they have it's a once in a lifetime thing that you can do that's called the reconnection. And it said, that it's going to reconnect you to the ley lines and to your path and everything like that.
Wow.
Reconnection to the universe. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I want to do this. This is for
This is
me.
for
Okay.
me.
This is for me. When you get that feeling, I'm sure
Yes,
everybody
yes,
had that. It's
yes.
just,
And you sign up, and then it's like whoop, and everything happens, and then you're like, oh, okay, what happened? Like that happened quickly.
exactly. Yeah, that's what happened actually.
Yeah.
And I forced this woman in Borås because it was right before Christmas.
Uh-huh.
And I think like the Maya calendar ended on like 21st of December or something.
Mm,
And
mm.
I did this reconnection on the 20th and the 22nd. So like just around there. So it was really magical when I look back at it now. I wasn't aware of it then, but
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And I forced it was like 3 days before Christmas. I said, you have to do this now. Can you squeeze me in? Stuff. And she was like, okay, okay, I'll do it. So I went to her and did that. And
Uh,
my ego at that time was very loud and was like,
yeah.
yeah, this is going to be fantastic and you're going to get a hallelujah moment.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. I just got a headache afterwards and my ego was really disappointed in the whole thing.
Mhm.
It was just like, what? Is this healing? Um, but after this, slowly but surely, my path started to sort of just happen, just unfold.
Yes.
And I got so interested in this healing, reconnective healing. So I started studying it. I read a book by Eric Pearl, who's the founder. And then there was a course in Barcelona, actually.
Mhm.
And I didn't dare to say to anyone that I was supposed to go on a healing course
Yeah.
because I wasn't there in my evolution.
Yeah.
because I thought people would think I was crazy and people
Yeah.
would think I was
Yeah.
nuts and very strange. So
Uh,
I brought a friend with me and I said, let's go to Barcelona and we'll do this course. And she was like, yay. And I was like, yeah. So I understand now that she was just, what so easy to come because the universe arranged everything for me so I could go and do this. So I went and did this course, and then I started sort of undercover working with healing. I didn't tell anyone.
mhm.
Like the people that found me got to come to me, but I still had like my job and everything.
Yeah.
Actually started my own company as well. That's quite important.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, right at this after this 2012 this healing. So I started
Yeah.
my own company,
Mm.
worked as an HR consultant, which I
Mhm.
still do today.
Yeah.
This has been a journey also up and down, how much to work with that and how much not to work with that. But and then, slowly but surely people started coming to me and, I worked with it on the side.
Mm.
And looking back now, I can see it was all a journey also of, standing in my truth.
Mm.
Because I didn't speak to it unless I was speak about it unless I was safe, like in a spiritual gathering or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yes.
And I also got mirrored back to me that, oh, this is weird. Facebook and Instagram, there was a lot of trolls and stuff as soon as I posted. So that was my insecurities,
Yeah.
just being reflected.
Yeah.
So really my journey has been about these, well, 13 years since this was to step more and more and more and more into my authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that now looking back. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I got healing because I thought it was so weird, but I was so curious and I knew it was so powerful. So I just had to do it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I like you mentioned, Marie, I became a yoga teacher.
Mm.
Used that. I met kind of a soul mate, a woman who I actually went to high school with, but we haven't seen each other for 25 years.
Okay.
And we met up in a painting course, and we started a podcast 7 years ago called the Game Changers Podcast. Maybe someone here has heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we've been doing that for 7 years. And I realized also that that was also divinely timed because it
Mm.
was right a couple of years before the pandemic.
Sure.
Uh, if I didn't have her, I don't know if or the podcast, I probably would have gone nuts there too.
Yeah.
So that was all. And I know we were a big support for a lot of people during the
Of
pandemic. So,
course. Yeah.
yeah. So that started
Mm.
divinely timed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I stumbled into, well, it's not stumbled, it was also divinely timed, of course.
Mm.
When I was in Spain, I was started to listening to this guy like a fanatic on YouTube, and he started talking about Dolores Cannon.
Yeah.
And he talked about Dolores Cannon. I was like, I was aware of her, but not really,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
knowing what she did and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to her homepage and I was like, whoa. So it was the same feeling as with the reconnection in the beginning that I have to do this.
Yeah.
And after the pandemic, everything was online, so I could start like the next day. I signed up and I did it, and all the test clients for this hypnosis just flowed to me. It was 25 test clients,
Mm.
and you do the theory online and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So everything just worked out perfectly in that matter. So right now where I'm at, I mean, you've been at the QHHT session. I'm sure we'll talk more about it, but it's a really exciting modality, and I
Yeah.
really have so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of years, you and I talked about that, Marie. We had our ups and downs in the energies has been very intense.
Very intense.
So,
Yeah.
so many lessons as you just keep learning, keep learning, keep
Yeah.
learning, keep learning.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I don't know. That's
Yeah.
kind of the short version of
Yeah.
how I got to where I am today.
Thank you so much. You said so many things. It's like there's so many nuggets in there. I'm thinking. So, for example, the beauty of being able to looking back at your journey, right? Because when you're inside of it, your ego is like, okay, so now what? Like I did this, and why isn't anything happening, right? But then
Exactly.
we look back and we say, oh, wow. And then that person came into my life, like you mentioned, right? Your podcast colleague. And, and then this course popped into my life. And then I was able to do this. And it's like slowly but surely you're moving along on your journey. And it's just absolutely beautiful, right? It's just so, I think if anyone's listening who's like feeling that, right? What's happening next? It's so nice to hear someone like you describe that part of their journey because when
Yeah.
you're in the middle of it, it sometimes feel like, well, first of all, you're confused, like what's actually happening to me, maybe, right? You need to go in a certain direction, but there's also the confusion, like there's the push pull between the ego and the where you need to go,
Mm.
and then there's also like you were describing the ups and downs, and so
Yeah.
it becomes like super intense, like, oh, all these shadows are coming up and it's painful, right? And
Yes.
so you're confused and you also receive pain, which means that you're just like, oh, what, this is not how it's supposed to feel like, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I thank you for describing that, because then it's relatable and it's just so beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's been one of my the exactly what you're talking about there, Marie, is
Yeah.
one of my biggest lessons, because I mean we're so drilled in this society
Yeah.
to reach our goals, and you're supposed to get there,
Yeah.
and yeah, we visualize and we have X amount of clients every day, and
Yeah.
then we have this, and then you get there, and and so a big part of my journey has been to lean back. Of course I have a vision, but to
Yeah.
let that vision just to release it to the universe and not force it, because I was really good at forcing before.
Yes.
Oh, how am I going to do that? How am I
Yeah.
going to get my clients? How am I going to be out?
Yeah.
There's so much stress, and
Yeah.
I just see now that it's just obstructing the flow, the
Yeah.
beautiful plan that is already.
Absolutely.
So to quiet my ego has been a big part of my journey,
Hmm.
to just tell it to take the back seat, and everything's going to happen in divine timing. If it hasn't happened yet, I'm not ready for it.
Yeah.
If
Totally.
it hasn't happened, there's something else that needs to happen before
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
You have to have this lesson to take you to the next level. Like for instance, I was talking about the HR assignments and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I went to one of these QHHT reunions. It was beautiful. It was in Ibiza. Met all these wonderful people, and they were all living on, the QHHT and healing and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah.
So I said bye-bye to my assignments, and I, jumped in, and
Yeah.
the universe is gonna support me.
Yeah.
And what happened was, everything went quiet.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what happens now?
Yeah.
And I realized afterwards that there was so many lessons in this that I had to
Hmm.
pick up.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, for one, your worth isn't connected to what you do.
Mm.
And it's one thing saying it, because I knew that, and I've been saying that on our podcast a
Of course
million
you have.
times,
Of course you
Of
have.
course I had. I've been talking about
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
then when you're there in it, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, nobody likes me. And so that got really clear that I still had
Yeah.
something to heal there.
Yeah.
You know, that
Sure.
my worth isn't, likes or how many
Yeah.
views is not connected to that or
Yeah.
clients at
Yeah.
all.
Mm-hmm.
So that became really clear. I
Mm.
had to heal that. The relationship with money,
Mm-hmm.
same. I've been, I always had money, enough money in my life, spend, no problem. And then all of a sudden, when it goes quiet and you have no money coming in, it's like, okay, what
Mm-hmm.
do I do now?
Yeah.
So then I had to unveil that, that I've been taking money for granted. I was just like, yeah, I always have money, I spend here and there, and. So
Mm-hmm.
I started a more respectful
Mm.
relationship with money, to thank it when it comes in, and to see it. It's just energy, but not to step out of this needing, I need money.
Yes.
And therefore the universe had to bring me down to zero in my accounts. I was like, yeah, thank you.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, 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 this is great. But of course, I've been tearing my hair out,
Of course.
some days, but you know, when you get to a certain stage, it's just like, you know that there is a lesson in everything. And I, you know, that's what I see in my QHHT lessons, in my QHHT sessions, of course, when I speak
Sure.
to my clients. The higher self always said,
Mm.
this is a lesson, this happened
Mm-hmm.
because of this, you
Mm-hmm.
wanted this to grow, blah, blah. So I know that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
when you also can, then you can take down the tension a little bit and just, so I've been working a lot with my mindset to
Mm.
not let the ego again create all kinds of
Sure.
scenarios for, you know,
Yeah.
what if, you know, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if you just, you know, tweak your mindset a little bit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I have a house in Spain. Most people would say that that's quite a lot of abundance, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we have 4 cars at the moment.
Yeah.
Not nice cars, but you know, there's one for the 18-year-old, one for the 15-year-old, one for the, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's so much abundance. It's like
Yes.
air. I live by the lake. I
Mm-hmm.
have so many friends. I mean, so it's just a matter of mindset, how you
Of
view things
course. Of course.
and working with the energy.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
I couldn't agree with you more, and beautifully said also. But what I really like sort of stuck in my head when you're talking is like you can say it, and you have been saying it to other people even, and you've been expressing it, you know, on your podcast and probably in your sessions, and you know all these things. You're saying these things, and then it happens, right? And then it dawns on you, and you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, I haven't
That's
embodied this. I haven't, hasn't actually gone into my
yeah.
body and in my energy.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
my
yeah.
suspicion is that the only way that it can embody you, if it's for it to happen to you,
Mm,
you have to experience it. So
mm,
it's kind of like I was listening to this person the other day, and it was just so beautifully said. If you ask your angels before you come down here, I would like to experience abundance. Then your angels tell you, or your higher self, oh, okay, so you will get to experience what abundance it's not like first.
mm,
So then you will truly experience abundance when you receive it.
mm.
So it's always in the lesson, right? And I started kind of
Yeah,
goosebumping when I heard that
yeah.
because,
I get goosebumps now. Yeah, yeah.
right? It's kind of
So
like
true.
you're saying, excuse me, I want to experience unconditional love, right? Okay, here you go. Experience a bunch of conditions on your love before, you know, your likes and your, you know, how many people think you're great and all this stuff, right? But your worth is not there. Your worth and your love is already there within you, right? But you have to experience that first
Mm,
before you kind of say that you're embodied it, like you said. Like we can talk about these stuff all day long, but if we haven't experienced it, we don't have the true kind of feeling in our body. What does it
mm.
feel like when your bank account is at zero,
Yeah,
right? What does that feel like?
exactly.
Yeah,
I know that now.
yeah. So you know that now. And
Yeah.
so do I. I've been through exactly the same journey as you have. And
Mm,
it's like you said, you tear your hair out and you're like, why is it like flatlining, right?
mm,
But
mm.
then you step back and you say, oh, okay, this is for me. This is
Yeah,
for me.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I also love what you said when you said leaning back into,
Mm,
because that's such a beautiful expression. Sometimes I get the feeling like, you know, my skin is here, right? I have this sort of surface body, but
mm.
behind me, there's like nothingness, right?
Yeah.
The universe is back there. And if I lean back into the universe, I can just fall back into that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So I love when you said that because I was like, oh right, that is the experience, you know?
Mm.
That's the experience of fully trusting, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Basically leaning back and then letting yourself fall and just keep on falling.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful. It's and one of my uh also, let's say, biggest, not lessons, but challenges has been, we talked about this with goals and, you know, go driving forward and
Mhm.
creating your reality.
Oh yes.
We do,
Yes.
consciously or unconsciously, we
Yes.
create our reality.
Yes.
So the interesting thing was that after being through all this down last year, then I got another quiet period now on in January and February.
Mm.
And I see now that that was also because of to take it to the next level, because then all of a sudden Joe Dispenza popped up. I'm sure
Mm.
you're aware of him. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Yeah, and he's all about creating the reality,
Mm-hmm.
all about that, what you can do, and through meditation, you
Yeah.
go into your nothingness, and in the 0 point there, you can create everything.
Yes. Yes.
And most people also, I'm sure, watching here know that your brain doesn't know the difference of something that's
Mm-hmm.
really happened or something that you make up in your mind and when you feel it.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's also been so I started meditating according to Joe Dispenza's meditations
Okay.
in beginning of February, I think, and I've been doing it every day
Mm.
between 20 minutes and an hour
Mm.
morning,
Mm.
and it truly is so amazing to see things just happening. So I manifested like a new assignment 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else fell away. Like I applied for like a few jobs, a few
Yeah.
real jobs, because my ego was kind of scared. So it's like,
Yes.
no, 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 you have to get a job now because
Yes.
there's zero in the bank account. You have to get a
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
But in my visualization, in my meditations, I saw myself having an assignment 3 days a week. That's perfect. I
Mm.
can still have QHHT. I can still do light language healing. I
Yeah.
can still do some retreats and events.
Yes.
And I had some things going on, and there was, some interviews and stuff. Everything disappeared apart from this one assignment that is where I'm at now, and it's really, really is perfect for me.
Mm. Mm.
I know I'm there to do healing as
Mm.
well.
Yeah.
And I set the intention every time I go there. I say, okay, everyone who meets me today, I'm going to lift and shift their energy,
Mm.
get healing.
Mm.
Also, one of my lessons
Mm.
to that has come like the last few months, that I don't know if I told you about that, Marie, but just that I saw HR assignment as, not as nice, not as high level as the healing work that I was doing.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because that is you're doing a difference, you're making a difference in the world, and and now I see it's been so clear when I come to this company and I meet people that have, children that are suicidal, another person that was suicidal, other problems coming up, and I sit with them in the room. I mean, there's so much healing going on.
Wow.
And there's so much healing going on. So that's also been one of my lessons, to just let my ego say that,
Mm-hmm.
nothing, or to tell my ego that nothing is better or worse.
Yeah.
Every job, and this is also a thing I was saying, Marie,
Yeah.
in my podcast, I was like,
Yes.
yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a cleaner or if you're a healer, that's no problem at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
No,
all
you're
the
beautiful.
same.
You're beautiful wherever you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true, but also embodying this and coming to this place and just feeling that,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
by me being here, I'm shifting the whole place.
Of course. And that ripples out to their family members and to their friends, and right? So it's a
Yeah.
huge change. Maybe you being there affects a lot more people than when you're one-on-one doing healing. You don't know that, right?
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
exactly the message I've been getting,
Right.
that,
Wonderful.
but my ego wanted, my ego had a plan,
Yeah.
have 3 clients a week and then some light language, and then I
Mm-hmm.
do some other stuff on the internet, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And the ego, my
Mm.
higher self didn't have that plan. My
Mm.
higher self
No,
had another plan.
of
And,
course.
and also for me to thrive, which I also found out now, is that I need to be in a setting with a lot of people. I
Yeah.
need to be somewhere to feel like on top of my energy.
Yeah.
And actually, that was because I had this podcast friend I was talking about, Jessica. She
Mm.
was at QHHT, and we're so connected. So I often ask some questions for me.
Mm.
And I asked her, and her higher self said to me that you
Mm.
get more energy when you're working 3 days a week at a company,
Yeah.
with the healing work there.
Sure.
When you have like nothing to go to, and you're doing you have a session here, a session there, you do some things, then you get
Yeah.
lower energy.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that now as well, that oh, I have so much energy, it doesn't matter, I get up at 4:30 some days, and go off and work all day, and then I got some stuff at the evenings, and now I got QHHT sessions in the weekends because I don't really have time in the weeks. So,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter, everything gives me energy, so I don't get
Wonderful.
depleted.
Yeah. From that, I'm thinking, isn't it good that we're not in charge?
Yeah,
And I've been thinking
my
about that a
ego.
lot because if you had gotten what you wanted, it
Yes.
wouldn't
Yeah.
have been the best for you. If you had gotten like, okay, these are the clients, this is what I'm doing, and then doing this podcast, and it's exactly the way I wanted, right?
Yeah.
But because you got something that is actually what you need.
Mm,
This is what's best for your energy. This is what's best for your evolution. This is what's best for you to move forward on your journey. And
exactly.
therefore, that's what you got instead. And that has happened to me so many times in my life where I look back and I'm like, I didn't actually make that choice.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
never, I can honestly tell you, I did not make the choice to start to become an architect. That
Mm,
that wasn't made by me.
no.
Overnight, it's not like I was dreaming for decades, in grade school, like, oh, one day I want to be an architect. Oh, one day I want to do this. No, it's almost happened overnight. Like boom, it was downloaded. It's like, oh, you're gonna apply to go to architecture school. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Super exciting. Like I didn't even think about it at the time. Went in, super excited, went through school, went to work, have loved it the whole time, but it
yeah,
wasn't my decision.
exactly.
It totally wasn't. And that changed the course of my life, right? So all
Yeah.
these I would venture to say that all these big decisions that happen to us,
Mm,
that we're not the ones making it. But as you said, when you're talking about Joe Dispenza now, where you are focusing on that
mm,
part of you that can actually reshape your brain,
mm.
that makes me think about, you remember as we were kids, we had our imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
We went and we said we took a bunch of friends and we're like, oh, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna build this little cottage. We're gonna, I don't know what we're doing. We're gonna mix this little thing, and this is our soup. And then now you're gonna go and you're gonna take care of the cows over there. And like we were totally in our world. It
Yeah.
didn't matter to our brain that this was not real. It
Mm,
was real
mm.
all the way until somebody told us, oh no, you don't have an imaginary friend, or that's
Yeah.
just for, you're just playing, it's not real, right? That's not a real soup, like somebody told us that, right?
Mm.
But when I look at Joe Dispenza and all this beautiful research that's coming out now that actually tells us that we can reframe and rebuild our brain with our own intention in our
Yeah.
own thoughts, it tells me that our imagination was right.
Yes.
Right?
Mm.
If you imagine your reality, if you put your intention on your reality, you can actually mold it.
Yeah.
And isn't
Exactly.
that beautiful? So you have this kind of, and now I don't know how to explain this, but you have this kind of consciousness, right? That has an intention that
Mm.
can actually, it has so much energy that it can change your physicality. It
Mm.
changes your brain. Why?
Yes.
Because your brain is also just energy,
Yes, exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so amazing when you think about it. So, like, we were right all along when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
It was real.
Yes, 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 yes. And also I can say, I mean, Joe Dispenza's work has reshaped my whole what is possible and what is not possible, because I watched some testimonials of
Yes,
his,
yes,
and the things that people have healed. I mean, it's everything. It's
yes. It's everything,
everything, single thing,
of
and
course.
so also that's, I'm starting to understand. Also, something I said, we're so powerful, we're so, we can create
Yeah,
anything. But
yeah.
now I understand. We are so powerful. We can
Yes,
there was a woman there who regrew a part of her body that
yeah,
was like gone, and she
yeah,
regrew it because she was sitting in meditation, imagining it.
mm-hmm,
So everything is possible. It's
hmm,
so
yeah,
that's also, I think, why he sort of, because I've been aware of him for years and I took
yes,
courses 10 years ago with him,
yeah,
but
yeah.
now it really landed in again. And I think part of why I'm doing this meditation now is to show me how easy it is to create different things
Mm-hmm,
when you know that you can do it. and
Mm-hmm.
when you have the consistency to do it,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to.
Yeah, totally. It's
So
also it's kind of sorry.
no, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say it's kind of like because you said you interfaced with him 10 years ago, but now it's it's landing even more.
Yeah.
It's sort of this journey of remembrance that we're on, right? So
Mhm.
we start to remember that like, oh, I'm able to do this, but maybe there's some blocks that we need to clear in order for us to take the next steps. And then finally we're in a place where like I'm not just saying that I am a creator, I'm
Mm.
actually a creator. I'm actually
Exactly.
creating my world. And there's a whole nother energy behind that. Because
Yeah.
I feel exactly the way you do. It's like I was talking about this for years. And as a child, I kind of already knew it. I felt it. And I
Mm.
was wondering why people weren't paying attention to the things that like really mattered, right? They were paying attention to like themselves and this book and whatever, but they didn't like pay attention to what was behind the whole interface of reality. And so, but now, we go enough steps and then we kind of truly land within ourselves and we can actually feel the energy of that power of being able to mold our own reality.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's such an amazing feeling, right?
Yes. And when you get that feel, like I feel now, it's like, well, nothing is ever going to be a problem because I can always, including the physical body, because I
Yeah.
can always,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can always heal it.
Yeah.
I have the power to heal it.
Yeah.
So I'm not, it's given me a whole new level of
Yeah.
understanding,
Yeah.
actually. So it's, but I mean, it's the same in the QHHT sessions. I mean, our higher self can do anything. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
different path
Mm-hmm.
to go
Yeah.
that.
Totally.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I always say. I mean, if you're drawn to something,
Yeah.
there is something there for you at that point in your life. Like
Yeah.
we were saying about Joe Dispenza. Yes, I was aware of him.
Yeah.
I reintroduced him to my podcast friend, and
Mm.
she became obsessed. And then she started watching these testimonials, and then she said to me 10 times, "You have to watch this. It's so cool. It's so cool."
Yes.
And then eventually I was like, "Yeah, okay, well, I'll watch a
Yeah.
few." And then I'm like, "Whoa, you're mind blown.
Yes.
So cool." And it's
Yeah.
how it works. And if
Yeah.
she didn't get that into him, I wouldn't have picked up his books again and
Hmm.
started meditating and stuff. So it's also divinely timed, like you say. And so many blocks that I've cleared like the last couple of years or
Hmm.
since 2000, really.
Yeah.
I can see now, like you say, Marie, it's so true. I wasn't ready
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
to assimilate the information and to understand it. And,
Mm. Mm.
it was just too early.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And also, just because you talked about your journey now, what I also found interesting about what you said a while back, but it came back to me again now, is that, be careful what you say, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're on this journey and you start telling people like, oh, you just deep breathing and stay centered, and like whatever it is that you're saying, right? Or it doesn't matter if you're this or that because you're still worthy.
Yeah.
Boom, life brings you that left lesson.
Yeah.
Life is like, are you ready for it? Like you just said it and you said it to a bunch of people. Like, are you ready to experience it? Have you noticed that? To me, it's almost instantaneous
Yes.
now. It
Yeah, yeah,
happens
yeah.
the same day. It's
Yeah.
like I say something and then the same day, and then I reflect, I'm like, holy, like that, it just came, it was like a quick boomerang, and it's like, are you sure? Like, bam, right?
Yeah. Here it comes. Woo! And you're like,
Oh, okay,
"Thank
yes, I'm sure.
you. I'm so grateful."
It really hurts.
I will be in the future when I leveled up a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's just so funny because it's also like a journey without no destination. You're just going to keep on going, essentially, right? That's also a very good realization that, like, you're never going to be perfect. You're
No.
never going to just float away on a cloud and just be like, yes, I completed this. There's
Yeah.
always more to learn. There's always more to experience. And I
Yes.
think also that's why, and what you see in your sessions, that's why we keep on coming back, and that's why we keep on having new experiences. And to your point, there's nothing to be afraid of in the physical body, but there's also nothing to be afraid of about death
No, exactly.
because it's not real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I mean, actually, maybe we're awake when we're dreaming, and the opposite. We're dreaming right now.
Exactly.
Because I mean, a part of us is in spirit. I mean, probably a bigger part of us is in spirit, and then we're here, in this body with a fraction of our soul, and we're
Yes.
experiencing these things,
Yeah.
gathering some information and some
Yes.
experiences.
Yeah. And uploading that into the motherboard, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we're this fractal, of the whole, and we're just kind of using our experience to fill the experience of everything, like big, making that tank bigger of experiences of just truly having the ability. So imagine, you have you're a universal higher soul, and you have everything at your fingertips. Let's just say that, right?
Hmm.
And then you have the ability to go into this experience that we have now,
Yes,
which you would have never been able to experience if you stayed in that state. It's just not
exactly.
possible, right?
Exactly.
Like you can't scrape your knee if you don't have a body, and you
No,
can't get hurt in love if there's no other person to be loving towards. And like you and I can't speak if we're not appearing to be two separate individuals.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what the higher self says in the sessions, that it gets kind of boring to float around in bliss, and then you're like, yeah, well, I'm gonna go back to Earth and I'm gonna forget everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have these big lessons.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we come here, we set some themes, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna go through this. I want to evolve in this, like you said, love or
Yeah.
spiritual expansion, whatever it is, and then you come down here, forget everything, and
Yeah. Yeah.
go back.
You go, you have this little backpack thingy. You're just like,
Exactly.
okay, doing this again.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then when you get to a certain point, as we've been talking about today, you
Mm.
can start to look back and see, and things become clear. And that's actually, I think, when the beauty really lands. Because when I look back at my life and I see, things, let's say people that I had to forgive, or that I chose to forgive, after that settles in, it's like the most beautiful gift ever.
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's just I can't even describe it. It becomes like this amazing little diamond that you carry around because it's like I was able to do this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a big learning, that you have managed to go through all these things, and
Yeah.
you're still here.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's very beautiful to see that there's been so many tough times, if you want to
Yes.
label it that.
Yes.
But I managed to get through it all,
Uh-huh.
and here I am. I'm still
And here you are. Yeah.
here.
You're still laughing and you're still breathing and you're still, you might have a few scars here and there on your body, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the reason might be the journey, that's really why we're here. And then there might also be other reasons, like we really want to help. As we started this discussion, you were saying about the Mayan calendar and
Mm.
how, at least in my perspective of what's going on now in the world, there's a really big change that's happening. And I'm seeing it also in my own life. It's happening very, very quickly. It's as if like I'm just holding on to this thing that's like pulling me through space now because like I can't, my mind can't keep up. And I'm just like saying, okay, fine, I'm going. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's this big shift that's happening, within us, but also within the collective. And so I think that part of our journey in this lifetime, and maybe many others also, is to be here to help, be
Exactly.
here of service, essentially. And just because we might be a few steps ahead on the journey this go around, but we can turn around and extend a helping hand to somebody who's also walking the same journey and is wondering what the heck is going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and that was also one of my lessons the last few years to pull back inside to, and I think many people had that.
Yes.
Because before, even if I was not watching the news that much and stuff like that, but it's really been take your focus off of it.
Yes.
Take your focus off of it.
Yes.
It's only, and you know, I had, so then I took my focus off of, you know, mainstream media and that
Yes.
negative energy,
Yeah.
but also the free media or whatever you want to call it, the alternative media.
Yes.
That's also
Yes.
pulling down my energy.
Of course.
So now I'm extremely rarely in any sort of external
Mm-hmm.
news flow. Uh,
Yeah.
and that was a journey too, because
Yes.
I was raised and my family said that, you know, you need to know what's going on, and you need to have high knowledge about everything in the world, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
That proves you're smart, you know.
Yeah. Oh, right. Exactly. Yes. If
That's
you
how
can
they.
talk about these things, that means you're intellectual.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly. So
I
that's my
know.
background. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so that was also a huge lesson, just to stand up and say, no, I don't watch it. I don't want to have any part of it.
Yeah.
I need to focus on me and
Yes.
pull back. And that was also a journey through the pandemic, that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to be so angry and so frustrated and
Yes.
so smashing things,
Mm-hmm.
knowledge in the heads of others, and say, can't you see this is crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just going through this anger and frustration phase
Yeah.
for a long time, and
Yeah.
then you just become exhausted.
Yeah. You exhaust yourself. Yes, you do.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
And you turn the focus off of your internal state
Yes.
and onto everything that's going on.
Yes.
And
And you're
that's
constantly battling there. Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I see exactly that I had to go through that. I'm so grateful I had my friend Jessica, and
Mm-hmm.
a couple of other friends who went through it. And then it becomes also so apparent that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the way to evolve in this lifetime, to be angry at everything that happens. No,
Yeah.
it's just going to take you anywhere,
Yeah.
nowhere, you know. So that was also a huge lesson that was needed, to just, and that's, you know, the pandemic was a great lesson for that. I think for many people too,
Mm-hmm.
not just for me and for my some of my friends, for
Oh,
many people.
absolutely. I think it actually changed us as mankind,
Yes,
in
yes,
different ways, but absolutely in the way that you described was a big, big part of it.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, changing your focus because, as you said, you were trapped in like the old media of news feeds, and then you get trapped in the alternative media of the news feeds, and then you completely lose yourself into both.
yeah,
And it takes a while before you step back and say, wait a minute, none of this is real.
exactly.
None of this is real, right? And I need to come back into myself. It is
Yeah,
so hard when your energy is all scattered out there to try to say, oh, yeah, stay centered, right?
exactly.
It's a very difficult thing to do, but I think we had a lot of lessons during that time, and that was a big, big one, for all of us.
Huge,
Yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah,
We went down all these rabbit holes, right? And this is
right.
happening, that's happening, and yeah, I completely agree with you. And also for me, it was a very good moment to just have a much more time for myself, because there wasn't that
Yeah,
many activities going on, right? So there was much more space, and that space allowed you to spend some time with yourself if you wanted to,
exactly.
right?
Yes, yes,
That's the
yes.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah. It
So I
was
think
a huge, huge transformation.
it really was.
Huge.
It really
But
was.
also, Maria, I mean, I started talking about standing in your truth and in your
Yes.
authenticity.
Yes.
And some of us really had to stand up to the whole collective and say that, no, I'm not doing that. No, I think that's crazy. No,
Mhm.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so that was also a journey,
Yes. Yes.
next level, standing up for what you
Of
believe,
course.
even if 99% says something else, you know, it's just to stand.
You just knew.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I just knew.
Mm-hmm.
And to stand firm. And I mean, when you go through that and come out the other side, you're just so much stronger. So
Absolutely. Because what it became about is like, this is my body, right? That's how
Exactly.
strongly I felt about it. It was like, this is my body. I choose what
Mm,
happens to my body. Nobody
exactly.
else is going to tell me that this is a good idea, and I'm not going to buy it, right?
Mm,
If you
exactly.
have all these people who haven't done any research and then you jump on the bandwagon, right? But if I am looking into it and wondering, why is this, isn't there's some logic that's breaking down here,
Mm,
then
yeah.
it's my right to say, over my dead body, so to
Yeah.
speak. And that was super powerful for me, because I was just like, it's not happening. So it's
Mm.
like you draw a line in the sand and you're just like, no. When you did that, because, and also I went and I listened to somebody talking about this about a year and a half before. I think it was Suzanne
Okay.
Björklund,
Ah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
she
she's been
was
on our
saying,
podcast. Yeah.
you are going to have to make a choice. And she said
Yeah.
this like 2 years. And I was like, I wonder, what is she talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't understand it,
I
right?
have no idea.
And when it happened, I was like, boom, oh, this is the choice I'm making. Okay, then it was clear as day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that. It was just so, and as you said, it was so empowering for me as an individual to be able to stand up against the entire collective, against all the authorities, and just be like, no.
Yeah. 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 And I say I notice in myself because I'm not completely disconnected. I actually like, and I have I like social media.
Mm,
I'm aware of its drawbacks, but I like Instagram. I like Facebook.
yeah,
Even though it's got some negativities, of course, but I like it. I like to connect to people. I'm
yeah,
connected to people all over the world through Facebook.
yes.
My QHHT practitioner friends, so
Mm,
I like it. I like to stay in touch
yeah.
with people. And uh, what was I going to say about that now?
I don't know, but I can help you out, because
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way. I had this sort of, tension against media, because I felt, oh, it was, everybody's just showing like, look at me. Oh, I made this sandwich. Isn't it pretty? Like that, right? So I totally disconnected myself from pretty much everything for a
Oh,
while.
you did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, but like you said, there's some beauty in there.
Yeah.
And maybe we're there to upgrade that beauty, right? So
Yeah.
connecting to people, being able to touch other people's lives that are completely in different parts of the world, being able to just create this beautiful network
Yeah.
of like-minded individuals. And
Yeah.
so I've come back into that and like translated it into a much more beautiful thing
Yeah.
for myself now. And
Exactly.
as you said, there might be people out there that are maybe not so nice and so on, but you don't have to worry about them, right? You
No.
worry about the people that you touch, and the lives that you're changing, right? So it's a
Exactly.
beautiful tool.
Yes. And now I know when you were
I
talking.
know that you were gonna
Yeah,
find it.
I know. Yeah. So obviously some things pop up,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can still feel that I've got some unhealed business because
Mm,
when something comes like let's say there's a deadly mushroom spreading all over the world in
yeah,
record pace, I'm like,
yeah. Ah!
no, I'm not doing any changes to my life due to a mushroom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And or if I see these
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm still, but I'm aware of it when I'm aware of my reaction. So I
Yeah,
know I have some parts that still not healed from this,
yeah,
but I can detect them straight away that, okay, now you get triggered by
yeah,
this.
yeah,
You get triggered by the mushroom, you
yeah.
get triggered by the measles are spreading.
Yes,
Okay, fine, take a
yeah,
deep breath.
yeah,
You don't have to go into anything like that.
yeah.
Just release it.
Exactly,
It's not
exactly.
on, like I say now, it's not on my timeline.
Yeah.
My timeline, there's, love, there's possibilities, there's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful
Mm-hmm.
friendships, there's
Mm-hmm.
opportunities,
Abundance of everything wonderful.
funness of everything
I know.
wonderful.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
used to think that, in all honesty, I used to think that people that acted like that were delirious,
Yeah.
right? And I was coming from the state
Yeah.
of
I
like, I
probably would have
follow the
said that.
news, and yeah. So I was like, they're just putting these guy blinders on, and they're moving through life, right? And now I'm really realizing I'm exactly where you are. It's almost like, if I'm in a conversation and somebody starts to go down a negative path, you know,
Yeah.
and it could be anything. And I'm not judging. It's just this is what we're trained to do. We're trained to kind of repeat what we feel is miserable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I just go quiet and
Yeah.
I just sit there and I hold space for them to go down that path. And then when they're done, I bring in something else and I say, wow, isn't the weather wonderful today? Isn't, look
Yeah.
at that bird. Look at how they're, they're talking to each other over there, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with social media. If I see these things pop up where I feel myself getting triggered, or if somebody sends a video to me and I start watching it, I'm like, nope, I'll turn it off.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
I don't want to allow that into my energy anymore. And it's almost like we first made the decision of not allowing a drug into our system, but
Yeah.
now we're also making the decision of not allowing that type of energy into our bubble, so to speak. And that's
Exactly.
been huge for me because I used to also, follow down all these different things. And like you said, there's unhealed business here for sure. But I've started to like create my boundary, right? And say, no, I'm not interested. Like, I don't want to,
Yeah.
just not interested. Because, and also what happens is if you feel through in your body, like when you become a little bit more like centered in yourself, you can actually feel that energy in your body. It doesn't feel good,
No,
right?
exactly.
And you
Yeah.
can feel how it lingers.
Yeah.
It
You
can
can
stay
feel it.
with you for 20 minutes, for 30
Yeah.
minutes, for
Yeah.
half a day, for a whole day. For me, that's not worth it.
No,
Like,
no.
why would I want to spend my whole day like that because I just watched this little clip of something?
Yeah, exactly.
It's no. I
No.
would much rather go into meditation, like you said, and spend some time uplifting myself, or spend some time thinking about, the great things that I want to do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is so great. Do you know what came up in my head when we were talking here, when you were talking?
Oh,
When you were at my session,
oh,
or you were at your session, not my session.
both,
QHHT.
both.
I felt when you walked out the door, I was just like, that's such a shame. That's such a nice woman. It feels like we're best friends.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like, bye.
Uh-huh.
And it's such a weird feeling. I often talk about this that, you spend like your whole day with someone and they
Yes.
tell you their entire life. You have this beautiful session, things
Yeah.
happen, you have debriefing, and then you say, bye.
Yeah.
It's really
Right?
weird. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy that we're here now, Marie.
I am too. And I actually even remember you saying, you're like, it's such a shame you live far away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's not that far, but it's like too far to do yoga together on a
Yeah,
weekday,
yeah,
for
yeah.
example. Yeah. But it's so beautiful how we don't really lose the people that we're meant to somehow be in connection with, right? And
No,
that's
it's
also,
true.
so I'm glad you brought that up because that's also a beautiful thing, to be aware of. Like, you used to feel like, okay, now that person's leaving, now I'm never seeing her or him again, but it might not be the case.
Exactly,
Something
exactly.
else happens, and then before you know it, you're spending a lot of time together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
nice. And I think the people we're meant to meet or reconnect with, are going to come into our lives.
Yeah, 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 sure. I agree
Yeah.
100%. It's the same as the unfolding of life. And
Yes.
then you can relax a little bit more,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
everything is meant for me, every person, every situation,
Yeah.
every job, every, house, whatever it is, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come to me.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, maybe like we were talking about, you have some blocks to work through before
Yeah.
you're there.
Yeah.
Uh, but also thanks to the pandemic, I learned to release timelines because
Yeah.
timelines is just, it's just made up and it's just your ego wanting things to
Yeah.
happen in the schedule.
Yes.
And for me, that was huge.
Mm.
During the pandemic, I wanted one certain thing to happen. That didn't happen. And we were so disappointed. It was just like, no, oh, this is never gonna end. And and then we were just like, it was me and my friend again. We're just like, okay, this is the point where we release all timelines. We cannot,
Mm-hmm.
our whole life experience cannot be dependent on if something happens or not. And
On a particular day, right?
no,
Or
on a particular day, in a particular
yeah.
when you
Yeah.
expect it to happen and it
Yes.
didn't
Yes.
happen. it
Yeah.
can only bring, negative energy
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
disappointment to
Yeah.
you. It's the
Yeah.
same as expectations, like
Hmm.
I say to my
Hmm.
QHHT clients.
Yeah.
Or like I went into this reconnection healing in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, I expect this to be fantastic. I'm going to fly away on a unicorn and it's going to be
Hmm.
great.
Hmm.
And I ended up with a headache and I left, it's like, but
Oh,
now if
this
you,
was a bummer.
yeah, that was a bummer. So if you would have asked me the day after, I would have said, I
Yeah.
don't know about that healing. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you ask me 15 years later, it changed in my entire life course.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
know that it pushed me. I would have gone on to my path anyway, but I think
Yeah.
it accelerated things for me.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
So
Yeah.
it's also a lesson not to be so quick to judge things and to
Yeah.
have expectations because your ego does not know and it's not designed to know
It doesn't know
at all.
anything. Yes.
It does
No,
not
it's
designed to
sometimes,
know.
yeah, sometimes I talk to people about that, how we gave the job to our mind and our ego to do certain things that it's not qualified to do.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
giving that job to, somebody who's, I don't know, 10,
Yeah. Yeah.
because our mind doesn't have the capability to keep us safe. And we've given our mind this assignment. We've said, all of these things are scary out here. It's your job to figure out how to protect me from this. So
Hmm.
your mind goes crazy. It says, oh, okay, you have to call this person now. You have to write to this now. You have to do all these things because otherwise this will happen. And I have all these scenarios that I figured out for you, right? And
Exactly.
and the brain can figure out scenarios. It can say like 20 different awful things that are going to happen.
Yes.
But it's because you gave your mind the job of trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you alive,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And that's not the mind's job. That's the heart's job.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That's where you have your safety. That's where you have your inside of your body.
Hmm.
Once if you release that from your mind is a fantastic tool. I'm so thankful for my mind because it's good at organizing. It's good at like putting things into the right wrapper. It's good at trying to logically figure things out, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's not good at running the show
No.
because it
No.
it just goes nuts. Yeah. It's
Yes.
trying its best with the tool that it has, so you have to like be like sometimes I say I'm sorry mind that I gave you this job because I know it's impossible for you and I'm driving you crazy,
Yes. Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. 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 Yeah, and I'm also thankful because so my ego likes to be seen and it likes to be
Yeah,
heard.
yeah,
And I'm very thankful for that because that has made that I'm not scared. We were
yeah,
never scared to start a podcast.
yeah,
Because some people are like, how can you do that? It's so
yes,
scary. And,
mm-hmm,
and if this video, I like it, it's no problem. If
yeah,
there's 100 people in the audience, the
yeah,
more the better. So so I don't get nervous. I get
yeah,
energy from that.
yeah,
So
good.
that's all my ego, and it likes to be seen.
Mm-hmm,
And there's a lot of things I would have stepped away from if I didn't have
mm-hmm,
my ego pushing me, saying, "Yeah, this is fun. This is great.
yeah,
Let's do this."
yes, yes,
So it,
exactly. And,
mm,
and that's the job I think it has, right? It's giving you a container, a structure of like this is fitting for your assignment in this lifetime.
yeah, exactly.
We're
Yeah.
giving you these like how should I say qualities, right? These qualities, or you're gonna like to be in front of public, you're gonna be excited about new things, you're gonna have an open mind.
Mm,
I'm just summarizing some of the things that you've said,
yeah, yeah.
and that allows you to do this.
Exactly.
Perfect, right?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Yeah. But you didn't read the fine print. I'm also going to talk to you about all of these things all
I'm
the
also going to set very, very specific goals for you, and if you don't achieve them, you suck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
time. And I think,
that's the fine print.
yeah, but it's also how we grew up. It was like, there's testing in school, there's all these competition sports, there's, everything is set up for us to like compete against each other, to win, to cram things into our brain and then spit them out on a test and be like, yes, I got 98 over 100. I got better at you score than you, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're trained to feel like we have to accomplish all these things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's like
And
I
that is,
look at,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that is so ingrained. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
school, the whole society, the way we worship the good athletes. I mean,
Yes.
it's so
Yeah,
ingrained in
I
us,
know.
you
And
know.
now I sit down and I think like, why don't we teach our children meditation in school?
Mm.
Why don't we teach them how to imagine things that they already know how to do? Why don't we support that? Why don't we support them in all the qualities that they have already?
Mm.
I'll just mention my youngest, for example. She's, this is amazing. I don't know what they call them, crystalline rainbow children, whatever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
She has all these things within her, and my only job is to support her and be like, wow, that's really amazing, can you tell me more?
Mm. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I don't remember if I was like that as a child, but as I'm looking at her now, I'm like, wow, this is like a whole nother breed of beings coming in and being born into our world right now, because there's total connectivity, right?
Yes.
Talking to the guides, seeing portals, speaking to animals, like it's all there, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that also makes me really happy and humble, because then I can say, wow, like you're truly my spiritual master. I can learn from you how to remember to come back into where I'm meant to be,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's just so many things that we should support our children with, rather than saying, oh, here's math, you do this for an hour, you know?
Yes, I could not agree more,
Yeah.
Marie.
Yeah.
I could not agree more.
I
No,
know. I know.
it's just, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole podcast about the systems that hold us down.
Oh, yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah,
But we get the experience to walk through them and come out on the other side. So that's a beautiful function, isn't it?
yeah.
Of those systems, like they're designed to do exactly what they're designed to do, to bring
Mm.
you through the experience of now looking back and saying, wow, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'll
Well,
just
like
give
you
you,
say,
yeah, go ahead.
there's also a reason for that. More and more kids feel that they don't fit into the system.
Of course. Of
Yes,
course.
they're like they're more and more
Yeah.
special needs, which may
Yes.
not be special at all. It's just that
Yeah.
it's more, like you say, it's more mainstream now
Yes.
to
Yeah.
come in with all these capabilities,
Yeah.
and just doesn't fit the system. That is,
No, exactly.
so
There's
it's
there's this amazing podcast called the Telepathy series. I'm not sure if you watched it. Otherwise, I'll send it to you. It's like blown up over the internet, and it's basically this group of people, and this woman in particular, who are interviewing parents that have children with, as you say, they are savants, right? They have this amazing capabilities,
Hmm.
but they may be non-speakers.
Yeah, okay.
So society has said, "Oh, you're stupid," essentially, right? You don't know how to communicate. So we're gonna put you in a classroom and we're gonna teach you like, "Oh, this is a sheep, this is a monkey," for like the next
Yeah.
part of your life, right? Meanwhile, back at the farm, it turns out these beings are highly intelligent beings. Some of
Hmm.
them know how to communicate in 8 different languages.
Yeah.
Almost 100% of them are telepathic, and they communicate with each other in different parts of the world, right? They can have conversations with somebody like you and me are having a conversation. They wouldn't need the Zoom. They just connect to each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
have the capability of just feeling everything. I mean, they're just like superhumans, yeah?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
in this series, she goes through and she interviews all these different families, and everything starts to unravel, and you start to realize that these children's are spiritual masters. They are here to show us the future.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
incredible. Like, you
Oh,
know,
that's so cool. I gotta look into that for sure.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I'll send it to you afterwards. And
yeah.
anybody that's listening, check out the telepathy tapes if you haven't, because it's I think there's a 10-part series in the first season, and then it continues with other seasons that I haven't been able to watch yet. But they're
Oh,
you can just listen to them. They're amazing.
yes.
Yeah.
Another expansion of the consciousness. You're like, whoa,
Yes.
that's possible. Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, there's already people here that are doing this, right? There was this one girl, she's has the ability to read hieroglyphs.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
can show her anything, and she's like, yeah, that means this.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Unbelievable, right?
She was right in Egypt
Yeah,
back in the day.
exactly. The way they describe it is that they're linked up to everything
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just download any information that they want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's what's really amazing.
I've got some kids that woken up here now, so that's
Okay.
yeah.
How about this? How about we you think into if you want to leave some kind of final message for anybody that's walking on this journey and maybe they're having a great day, but maybe they're also having a tough time. And
Yeah.
just if you want to feel into that and say something about that or anything that you would like.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Um, well, I think that the what comes to me now is like the magic is in the moment, and I know that's like a cliche, but
Mm,
for me that has been such a big relief
mhm,
when I can't change the past. I can't I can't affect what happened. So well, I can in the visualization, but the thing is that everything is created from the now. So
yeah.
to truly be able to land back in the now moment the whole time
Mm-hmm.
has shifted my life quality so much,
Yeah.
to come back to the now.
Mm,
Like we talk about when the brain spins off and you're like, oh, how's this gonna happen? Well, I have how I'm gonna pay for this, or what is gonna happen with this, or if you start worrying.
mm,
If you truly come back to the now moment and just breathe into your heart,
mm,
it's a portal to everything magical, to the whole universe.
mm-hmm.
Just put your hands on your heart and just breathe for a minute
Mm,
and just feel, am I okay in this moment? Yeah,
mm,
and just do that as many times as you need. And like you said, Marie, if you're in a rough patch and if everything feels like
mm,
it's not going to work out,
mm,
put your hand on your heart and breathe and
mm,
do that many times, many times, many times. I
mm,
think, and that's been so powerful for me to just come back to the moment, because I've been a person that's been always next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing.
yeah.
You forget to live in the moment.
Yes.
But it's like I say, if you're at a bad job or whatever it is, and you're not in the situation you don't want,
Mm,
you can still affect your how you feel right now. And the paradox is that if you can shift your energy, you're gonna draw your things in a
mm-hmm.
lot quicker than if you're in the frustration and if you're in the anger
Yeah.
and that.
Yes.
So magically come back to the moment and be in your heart as much as you can.
And beautiful message. And as you said, you can only change your energy in the now.
Mm,
So, and then that starts to affect everything else.
mm.
Thank you so much for sending that message. I think that's extremely powerful and it sounds simple, but it's a
Yeah.
lot of times it's the simple things that truly are the most powerful things. So
Yes.
complexity doesn't mean that it's better. It actually simplicity can sometimes means that it's very powerful. So
Yes.
thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And
Mm.
thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you. And I
Thank
send
you,
you so
Marie.
much love. And thank you, Jenny. And have a great day. And we will, I'm sure, speak again. Who knows?
Yes. Thank you so much, Marie, for letting
Thank
me
you.
come on here. I've enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
beautiful day, everyone. Thank you
You
for
too.
watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.